I needed to buy an equipment trailer. I asked the seller why he had plywood over the deck boards. He said it was for extra strength and the deck boards were in great shape. Thankfully, I didn't trust him. I took some time and ripped some of it off. It was very easy to see that the deck boards were rotted and he had definitely lied to me. I told him he needed to take $1,000 off or I wasn't going to buy the trailer. This was going to cover the cost of materials and a little bit of labor. If I had a harder wood, I would have put that down as the deck boards. But here in Colorado, it's not readily available like it is in some other states. I went to fit a board in at the end of the trailer. But for the life of me, I can't figure out why this is not 1.5 inches. It's 1.25 inches at best, so I'm going to have to notch the ends of these boards to fit. It's pretty easy. Set my blade a little bit more than 1/4 inch and make a lot of cuts. Then I chisel them out and give it a test fit. It fits perfectly. I'm not planning on keeping this trailer forever, so treated wood should last me for a couple years at least. So how much do you think I spent on the treated lumber? And I know what you're wondering. Why am I not wearing steel-toe boots? Well, it's about 90 degrees and my feet are always sweating like crazy. I really do like to work in sandals. I know this isn't OSHA approved, but this is just how I roll. And believe me, I wish my feet weren't so hot and sweaty all the time. Otherwise, I'd gladly wear work boots. The self-drilling screws work really well, but some of the metal cross members were a little bit thicker than others, and I was having a hard time getting the screws to come through. The screws started burning up on the ends, so I went to the hardware store and got a spider bit. This works so much better. A lot of the screws that got destroyed before I was able to use again. This method also saved a lot of time. This little Makita impact is quite amazing. The motor would get hot from time to time, but it managed to punch all these screws in no problem. I'm a little apprehensive about drilling so close to the end of this treated lumber. I'm guessing it's going to warp and break over time, especially on the hot summer days. But what else am I going to do? It's not like oak boards are readily available or affordable. I needed to move my equipment later that day, so I had to get this done quickly. So I guess I'm stuck with cheap lumber. It's very wet, and once it dries out, it tends to shrink a lot and get pretty warped. So as I started putting the boards on the trailer, I needed to measure all the way up. Some of the measurements were off by quite a bit, so I had to use the Bessie wood clamps to squeeze them on a little bit tighter. So here's a question. With a lot of dimensional lumber, the width is not the same in the middle of the board as it is on the ends. So that means I have to carefully gap them towards the end just a little bit, but clamp them really tight in the middle. I ended up measuring the boards on the end and in the middle. Sometimes they'd be a little bit thicker on one end than they would on the other. So all I would do was turn them around so that they would piece together pretty well. I needed to have exact measurements as I got to the last middle 2x8 board. And the moment of truth, let's see if this 2x6 fits in. Oh shoot, not quite. I unscrewed and then I clamped them all down and pulled them over. Treated wood warps real quick. I'll try the test fit again now. Voila. Jammed my drill bit, I can't get it out, so now I have to figure out how to get this out. and it snapped off. Thankfully, it falls out. And finally, I'm down to my last board. And hey, look, it fits. Now, if only this screw would just go in. I guess not. It's going to make my life a little bit difficult. And for those of you who watched this far, I have a question. I did get a discount of $1,000. So how much did the material cost? And was it worth my time to put on all these boards? How long do you think it took me to put them on?